Another jump into the video game adaptation realm. This has been going on for some time, and it's not Sony's only endeavor, especially recently. We just had and the film looks good, the Resident Evil reboot, the Welcome to Raccoon City one. Obviously, that's another very popular video game franchise. It's also been made into a movie franchise before. I don't know the level of traction it had, but reception to video game adaptations has been mixed. Some really good films, other ones, not so much. And, I usually hear critical reviews for pretty much every movie I've heard. It's like, well, they're not entirely perfect. I mean, I've enjoyed some of them, like, Tomb Raider. I love the Tomb Raider movie. That was actually very well done. Albeit, yes, some traditional action, thriller, adventure mechanisms, but it was told in its own unique way, and I think the action scenes in that film are actually particularly good. I really enjoyed it. But, other films like Assassin's Creed or some of the other earlier, I'm trying to think of the franchise. I think it was Mortal Kombat and stuff, or even Dragon Ball Z, as I understand it, with some of the early releases. They weren't received as well. I mean, again, video game movies have a spotty track record, but they're constantly. I mean, it's a real mix. But there are some films of great potential. Now, this one's been in development, though, for a really long time. I mean, I don't know how long, but I've heard about Uncharted for so many years. Of course, this being based on the Naughty Dog video game franchise, which I will say, I haven't played really any Naughty Dog games. I certainly have not played The Last of Us, although that's what they're known for. And based on the second game, rather infamously. Anyway, Uncharted. I have not played this franchise yet. In the time between when a new trailer comes out for this movie, I'm going to hopefully be able to watch. I don't know if I'm able to play the game, but at least I'll watch maybe some walkthroughs on YouTube to get a general gist of the story. But this is very much a first introduction, as I understand it. This is let's read the synopsis first. You'll get the clear sense of where this movie is going and begin just where I'm seeing it, my angle. This is according to IMDb. The story is a prequel to the game, starring Holland as a younger Drake, showing us details of how he came to meet and befriend Sully. Okay, so Holland, notably being Tom Holland, who of course is no stranger to the acting realm, especially in leading his own franchise. Spider-Man, of course, has proven well, but he's taking on another franchise now as Nathan Drake, I guess the title character for Uncharted. But this does look pretty interesting. Again, it's not just him, by the way. Antonio Banderas is also starring here, along with Mark Wahlberg. I'm a huge fan. Oh, I love Tom Holland as well, but I'm a huge fan of Mark Wahlberg. I haven't seen as much of Antonio Banderas, but I've seen a couple of things. I've liked him in the projects I've seen him in. But Mark Wahlberg, love this guy. So let's go ahead, though, and take a look at a prequel. So I'm hoping, again, as the trailer plays out, between the time today and when we get to cover more trailers in the future, if there are more, I will hopefully be able to have a better understanding, because I'm going to look more so into the story of Uncharted and the way the game works and functions, just to have a better baseline than I do now. But as a prequel, I was like, do I want to wait and do I want to watch footage? Nah. This is my first impression. I want to be able to give it to you. This is not just an impression to the film overall, but an impression to the Uncharted franchise as a whole. So we're going to go ahead and watch the main trailer for this first. I think it's called trailer number 1. They didn't label it any differently. And we'll talk about it more in my condensed review segment for us watching the video together. Okay, like I said, hopefully this will be good, because this game, or movie, I've heard it talked about for so many years. Okay, without further ado, here we go. Looks like another fun action-adventure movie. Sort of. Does it have an archaeological focus?
You can't find on any map.
Like, Tomb Raider?
Gone. They're just lost.
I wonder how similar they are. Of course, Sony and PlayStation. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, kid. A little young for a bartender, aren't you?
A little old for prom, aren't you?
Nice conversational dynamic between the two of them.
Map.
This path that Ferdinand Magellan took to sail around the world.
You know your history.
It's the biggest treasure that's never been found.
5 billion, easy. I think you're here because you're your brother.
Well, you know my brother Sam?
If we find that gold, we find him too.
Spider-Man definitely got this gig.
Sully doesn't have any friends. I should know him one of them.
You are a collector.
Well, I dabble.
I don't dabble. My family has been looking for this fortune for a very long time.
So much
It
blood.
very much is like a traditional action thriller, especially in the video game space. But it looks fun. I mean, that shot or that scene might be quite fun to watch.
You look like an idiot.
You have no idea who you partnered with.
I've been dreaming about this stuff since I was a kid. My brother Sam left one final clue.
Okay, pretty gritty stunts. Okay, that looks nice. I wonder if that's in the game. Or if this is new.
Guess I'll keep on living. Oh my God.
Shouldn't you come out to play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What?
Oh, crap.
His acting is doing a lot for me in terms of not making this feel so familiar.
Exclusively in movie theaters.
And I'm not saying that that's bad. This is coming out a little bit later, though, than Resident Evil. So they're not really in a similar release window, but maybe in a similar marketing campaign. It doesn't look bad, but again, I can't speak to this in terms of being an Uncharted fan. Although they did feature an ad at the end, I guess, for the new game, Legacy of Thieves Collection. Oh, it's just like remastered. Okay. Are these like Origin games? I wonder if that might be a way to get me in. I don't know for sure. But they'll be on the PlayStation 5 console for early 2022. Okay, so maybe this is coming out in association. Maybe that's why they waited so long, in part. Maybe it wasn't, well, I mean, maybe, other factors as well to be considered. But I'm like, I wonder, because of the release date of this, did they wait so that they could have an associated debut between movies and video games? Sony's done this in the past, notably with their Spider-Man movies very early on, with like the Amazing Spider-Man films, and then the games that came alongside. Notably, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had, I believe, a conjoined release. Maybe, again, separated a bit, but in a similar window. So again, they've had these projects before where there's a movie that comes out in the cinematic space for that screen, and then you've also got another product over here for, home entertainment, before, of course, the DVD editions come out of the movie. So that wouldn't surprise me if that was a thought on their minds in terms of release. Now, the film itself, again, I can't judge fully because I don't have the foundation of understanding with the Uncharted games to judge the story. But as a video game adaptation, especially of an action thriller game, it very much reminds me of the typical of what I've seen, to be honest with you. It definitely felt like a very point-by-point structure in terms of the articulation of the film as it was played out. The action scenes look fun. I'm excited to see that. I wonder how faithful this was to the game, too. Maybe sometimes you have a movie that's well, this is a prequel, though, to the game. So is this an original story? Or is this based on elements of a game? I don't know for sure. You Uncharted fans probably know better because you'll be like, oh, okay, maybe there was... I'm thinking maybe were there flashbacks kind of parsed through, and that's sort of what they're adapting loosely, but they're taking their own take on it. I don't know, but it does seem to have, again, like Tomb Raider, and there is a real similarity, at least from what I'm seeing, from what I saw in that movie. The archaeological perspective, maybe not again the same factors, the same elements, but the heavy emphasis on action sequences, creatively done though, and with more humor here. Tomb Raider is much more like an intensity level, and you really felt that with some of those action stunts. But Tom Holland's delivery here is really selling it for me. I mean, of course, he's definitely proven to, I think, be ideal leading man material. I think a lot of his fans are going to flock to this one. Maybe even people that aren't familiar, like me, with the Uncharted franchise. I'm just looking at the movie in broad strokes, and I'm like, I've seen this particular track, or the way this has gone about before. It just doesn't have the potency of strength, in particular with this trailer. Now, can the movie be completely different from that? Absolutely. There's been poor marketing in the past. I just feel this is a bit, for right now, familiar, and it adds this illusion of dullness. Just kind of how I feel. Although the action sequences look good, and the delivery from Tom Holland is selling it for me. Those are the two main aspects. Other than that, I don't know. If we get another trailer, which I'd imagine we probably will, because the release date is a little far out, actually by a couple months, so February 18th, I imagine we'll get a second trailer. At that point, I will have looked at the game a little more in depth, so I'll be able to operate from a base foundation of knowledge. Maybe not in terms of playing the game, but in understanding the Uncharted franchise at a deeper level. But what are your guys' thoughts right now? Again, I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm just kind of like, there is a familiarity here. And it does feel, I hate to say it, but at least the way the trailer painted it, this movie feels slightly typical. Not completely. I already listed the factors I think really do separate it as well. And of course, I think the dynamic between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, that also is great. I love Mark Wahlberg. I'm just kind of like, there's a familiarity. I don't necessarily feel the distinguishing attributes were that strong here. That's just my feeling. But whatever your thoughts are, let me know down below. Don't forget all the good stuff with liking, subscribing, and sharing that bell. I hope it does well. Until we get to watch more from this movie in the future, whatever we get to watch a trailer for together next, I will see you guys then. But until that point, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Don't forget to listen to my fellow man. God bless and peace.